Anybody that was sitting at that, I announced that's no good anymore. It's no good because I accidentally hit the shut off button. So now we're streaming on a different page of YouTube.
Maybe.
Yeah, well, I'm sure
You
it's
have
there,
power.
but yeah, I have power now.
Okay.
But that's very disappointing.
It's a tech topic.
Right? I want to verify what I'm saying is absolutely true. Oh, that's so frustrating. Hold on, guys. At least nobody was on it. But I think I gotta delete it. Let me do this. I'm gonna grab the title. Copy. Cancel. Delete this. And then I should be... Yeah, there it is. That's where we are right now. Go back to that. Even has an old picture on it. Oh, is... Yeah, there it is. That's where we are right now. Go back to that. Yeah. So we're on a completely different... I'm gonna... Oh, I know how to... Picture on it. Oh, is... I think I know how to fix this for me. What we want to do is save this to our club meeting list. Oh, I forgot I got to clean that up. On a completely different... Oh, I knew how to... Shut up. Almost ready. Delete that. Infuriating. All because I hit the wrong button.
Are we back online?
Yeah, we're back online. What are you doing here if it doesn't need to be online?
No, it was a question about a former person.
Oh.
And I think you told me to move.
Are you talking about Ray?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I've heard is she sold her house. Or is selling her house. Where's my document?
It's there and it's gone.
Oh, there it is. Right there. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Sorry about the technical difficulties getting started. Totally my fault. But I think we are up to date. This is the San Carlos Computer Club. I'm Scott Stimson from International Computer Solutions. And we meet every Tuesday at 10 here in Tequila's to get breakfast and talk about today's tech topics, which could be news from the week, or it could be problems we're trying to solve for people. TJ, I was just thinking about you this morning.
Good, bad.
Come join us over here, man.
Good, bad, or indifferent.
Just wondering where you are.
I'm here.
So we are here in person. We're having more in-person meetings because I have more time in San Carlos.
But we have fewer people.
But we have fewer people showing up for the in-person meeting. So we need more people to show up in person for this to be a thing. We've got new technology, so I don't have to string a bunch of computers together. And today is a special experiment for me because I'm on Tequila's Wi-Fi right alongside you guys instead of hooking up more equipment.
Oh, well, let me hook on and just see if I can screw it all up for you.
Yeah, please do. Please screw it up for me. My goal in the end is to sit down and open up a computer and go.
It says it's connected.
Yeah.
What else is on your wish list?
Mm-hmm. Well, I've gotten pretty close. I went from a 6th generation to a 10th generation, and all of a sudden I eliminated 2 other computers. So I got the meet going, I got the
You understand what you're
broadcast
talking
going.
Yeah. Oh, okay. A little bit. Yeah.
What do you think?
He has a 10th generation. Is not the newest, you know,
No.
But it's doing the job.
doing
Newer
the
for
job,
him.
you know.
Doing the job, man.
But are we talking about Intel?
Yeah,
Aren't Intel's processors like not good right
No.
now?
they're not. In fact,
They're burning like I saw
That's
that
right.
They had like 3 ships and they burn 1, so eventually it'll.
what they've got is the 13th generation and 14th generation chips. They marketed as high performance chips going up past 4.5 gigahertz. And what they discovered after they went into the market is the silicon is getting eaten. It's getting etched by those high voltages.
Yeah.
And so what they've done is they've put out a BIOS update that will crank down the processor, basically marginalizing the performance that they were selling those chips
Yeah,
at,
so
making them
they
more similar
oversold it.
to a 12th generation chip. And if you have a 13th or 14th generation chip, if you're already experiencing problems with it, there is no fix for that.
Yeah. Did they change it? Like,
They have a 5-year warranty right now.
okay, yeah, because like they do the update, but if you already have one of the 3 chips burnt,
Yep.
you know, like it has to be replaced. Even with the update, it won't.
Well, and they won't replace your chip if a manufacturer's in charge of it to begin with. So if it's a HP or a Dell, a Lenovo, you don't deal with Intel, you deal
Right.
with them, and then it's at their discretion whether they're going to help you with a replacement for that chip. Most have said they will, and cursed Intel for being a partner with them and creating these problems for them. Anyway, in that aspect, if you had to buy a new computer right now, and it had to be a Windows computer, you might be interested in saving a few bucks and going down in generation to avoid any of those kinds of problems. Well, I have a document, as always, that has some topics on it I thought would be interesting, and I'll skirt through some of them real quick. But as always, I'm more interested in your topics and the things you guys are doing out there. But I'll put this link in our Meet so that it's easily available to you guys out there.
Do you want me to mention the 18.2 update?
I do. I think I just
Okay.
stuck it in our lineup
Well,
too.
you can speak to it because
No, you voice your frustration. Well, let's just
very
start out by saying, has anybody done the 18.2 update to their iDevices
yes, sir.
besides Judy?
Don't wait. Everything in your message or what is that called?
That's the mail program.
Mail program.
The mail
changed.
client.
The
Yeah.
mail client has changed. So you have to go in and actually change it back to how you want it.
Update. So one of the things, if you guys have been following these updates to iOS, 18.2 is the solidification of Apple intelligence in your device.
Or not.
Or not, depending on your point of view. The Apple intelligence is Apple's AI, Apple intelligence, which is just learning models that they've been doing for years, and this is the latest incarnation of it. And what they've done is they've put an AI into the mail program to do qualifications or classifications of your email for you, just to be helpful. Judy came in because she had no idea what was going on. She could see only a partial number of her emails, and it said primary?
Primary.
It said primary. It had a big blue button at the top.
Primary.
It said primary, and some other obscure buttons that said nothing next to it.
And they were brand new, really.
None of it existed. It also does not yet exist on iPad, and you said there was another,
But it's coming,
but it's coming. And you can turn it off,
which I did.
which will return it back to a similar look and feel to the Apple mail client from 18.1 and previous. But what we're talking about is when you go into your mail.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
There we go. Do I have anything questionable in there? Nothing
No.
questionable. Okay. So at the top of your mail, I've got 18.1. At the top of your mail, after you've done the update, a set of bubbles appears, button bubbles. And the one to the far left, it says Premier. What does it say now? It starts with a P.
It does. Not priority.
Primary. Primary is the language.
We'll
Primary.
get the language right shortly.
If you touch the button, it turns off primary and turns on all mail. MAIL, in case you guys were, email. It's not just mail gigolo emails. It's actually mail. And that's on the far right of the bar in gray, not blue. Even though that is describing what's on the screen, all mail.
You can't see your screen anymore.
Oh, I don't know why I'm even holding that up, because it doesn't show any of that.
And mine's changed, so you can't see it on mine either.
So if you've gone to 18.2, what Judy and I discovered this morning is that there is now a new more menu in the mail client. In the upper right hand corner, there's the 3-dot ellipse that you can follow. It has one option. It has one option, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You're lucky you didn't have to go into settings, because that's the way we've been doing everything. Well, no, you went into the more menu that never existed before.
No, I went into settings just now. I followed that.
To turn off the other
yes,
stuff.
to turn it all off.
Yeah, because I'm surprised they would have something in the app, because Apple's way of doing things is typically any settings, any change, you have to go into settings and go under the application to do any changes. They're all grouped together under Apple iPhone settings or Apple iPad settings.
I guess the part that annoys me the most is that they feel like they know how I want my things run.
Yep.
As opposed to giving me the option if I want them to figure it out.
Well, and probably the
Whoever
most
they are
frustrating about that is, you're absolutely right. They make a change and they don't respect that you had a specific way you were doing things. Now you're in the new change, trying to figure out how to bring yourself back out of that so you can just do things the way you were doing them before. And that is a frustration.
So are you saying that people resist change?
Yes.
Well, it's not just that, but their changes were very strange. They were choosing whether my Home Depot mail is really a service or something else.
Yeah, maybe we're not doing justice to really explaining what's
Right.
going on here, because it's arbitrarily deciding what classification an email is, and putting it under its own headers. So there was a promotional setting,
Right.
which you would hope would be legitimate junk mail that you didn't want in the first place, but the kind of junk mail you could turn off.
Kind of what Gmail has been doing.
Exactly. That's exactly what's going, or what Outlook has started doing as well. It's the new style of it. Had a
That's why I like Thunderbird.
well, I think you and Judy would have the same complaint with this kind of stuff. It had a social.
Right.
Was it called social?
Social or something, and then it had pictures of like the Home Depot logo. I don't care to see that. I don't want to see. I don't care. I know what Home Depot is.
And what we're describing are those obscure icons on that bar that don't jump out and tell you what they are. You actually have to click on them to understand how it's getting categorized.
Apple originally designed to make difficult things easy.
Well, yeah, that's
how they sold
Wasn't
it.
that
Yeah.
Steve's original concept?
Yeah.
Is that computers,
they should fade away because they're just part of what you're doing.
The
Fade
PC
away.
was making easy things difficult to do, and his vision was to make easy things easy to do on a computer.
Right, or to make difficult things
Difficult
easy.
easy to do, and
Yeah.
easy things easy to do.
Yeah, all about that
Versus
abstraction layer.
making easy things difficult to do.
Yeah.
Well, and he was really fundamental in the standardization. When he had that layout, then nobody was able to change that. So you always find file there. You always find edit there. It doesn't matter what software you're in,
Consistency.
to make sure it's as easy as possible for the people using the computer. So easy to use, they're boring for technical people because they just work. That's the Macintosh platform until recently. Now they're kind of flailing. And as far as user interface design, there's a good Linus. I don't know if you follow Linus Tech Tips at all or have seen any of them. He's an outfit out of Canada that does lots of tech reviews. He's had his own set of controversies recently, but he's typically considered an authoritative source in technical information. We've now entered the matrix.
Yeah. Okay.
and he had a 30-minute diatribe on why the iPhone is not what you were describing anymore. And he found series of inconsistencies in the user interface and functions that worked and didn't work at random intervals, and just very disappointed.
Aren't there like 3 volume controls within?
Well, that was another thing that was on his complaint was there are so many volumes in a device, just in general. And Android has figured it out for a long time. You hit the volume control and all the other volumes fall underneath it, and you're able to adjust it in a volume mixer right there. It's intuitive and straightforward. Apple has nothing of that. You got to go find the alert volume, which is in contrast to the headphone volume, which is in contrast to the ringer volume, which may even be different from your Google Meet volume or your Skype volume. They have not done a good job of bringing all that into one interface like Android has.
That's what happens with Tim Cook.
Well, I think they're flailing in UI design, and the only reason that they're pushing Apple Intelligence as AI is because they need to have a foothold in the current market. But they're not. I don't think they're actually doing anything different than they've done in the past. All of their AI efforts are just built on top of stuff they've been doing all along. They were the first to have a neural processor as part of their system on a chip. They've been using that neural processor to do things like pattern matching. And when you're using that stuff, they're not calling it AI. They're just the features of their apps. Cheryl, you're saying that you didn't get an email this morning? That's weird.
I didn't get this morning's. I don't think. Of course, my email was all screwed up. Maybe hers is too.
Yeah, maybe you got to hit all mail. I do have the email from this morning in my email.
What time did you send it?
8 a.m. I try and always send it out at 8 a.m. Unless I missed it. Unless I'm sitting here and Cheryl's like, you forgot to send the email. I'm like, oh, you're right. And I send it from Tequila's.
Well, I don't think I got an email.
Well, that would be strange.
I got yesterday's email about the document shared with you.
Yeah.
But I don't think
Got the document yesterday, but no email this morning.
I didn't either.
Oh, there we are.
Well, I've got it. Which means it did go out.
Means you're no longer on Scott's Christmas card list.
That's right. Ever since your political views last week, you've been cut off. No, I don't know what I'm talking about.
That's why I left.
I said that for your benefit, TJ.
Love you, babe.
So,
Notice what color shirt I'm wearing today.
yeah. I thought that was for Christmas. You guys see my Christmas shirt?
See? Yeah.
No, I did this to stir the pot.
So, just to recap on things that are important in my club ideas, the Bill of Rights, there's still a link in this document. You're welcome to check it out. Suggestions are welcomed. Bed and breakfast, we're taking reservations. Anybody wants a discount, approach me. I got a 10% discount for anybody that says they're related to San Carlos. Smartphones for dummies, this is growing. What I'm suggesting for another seminar, and so I've moved it to the bottom of our document with a link here under topics. So if you click on that, it should just take you to the bottom of our document, and this is where I'm collecting every update, every piece of advice that somebody's given or question that I've been able to find an answer for. And the most recent thing I've added to it is the information about the no-call list, which is still a functioning thing, and the Cheryl sent me a Facebook reel demonstrating how to use the space bar to go through lines of text, and I thought that was very helpful if people weren't aware of that. In fact, I should just bring that up and let people look at it.
Now, when you mentioned the no-call list.
Yeah, here it is. Using the spacebar to align, to move the cursor through a line of text on the screen. So this is just a Facebook reel. But what they're talking about is...
Yeah. If you have an iPhone, have you ever been typing a text and then you want to go back to a word or letter previously and there's no cursor and you try and put your finger there, but you get to the you can't,
and your fingernail gets
in the way.
You
You can use the space bar to slide the cursor back.
Show the camera.
Okay, watch. So normally you would put your finger there, but you can't get it there. Here, if you hold this down, it should go backwards, right?
Now move to the left.
Yeah. Oh, look at that.
What?
Yes. It's life changing.
Yes.
This is.
Thank you. There you are.
We're done.
There's your tip for the day. Thank you for finding that, Cheryl. That's awesome. I wasn't using that.
Me either.
We talked about it a couple of years ago. I've been using it ever since.
Yeah, I think it's been around for a
It's
long time.
It's very handy.
Yeah. Well, and I'm one of those people that keeps sticking my finger on the words.
Yeah, but it's fat fingers.
Well, and it automatically selects the word, the whole word, or a piece of the word. Yeah. Cheryl, you were going to say something there?
Yeah, I found that it was in my memories, and I did know about it for years, but I keep forgetting about it, and so it is good to use. The other one about tapping on the word, tap once, it selects the word, tap twice, it selects the line, tap 3 times, it selects the whole paragraph.
So is that like tap, 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 or is it tap, 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 tap? Is it like double tap, triple tap, or is it like tap and then tap again and then tap again to get those effects?
Happy Gilmore.
It's tap, double tap, triple tap, and it sounds like we're choreographing a song.
I'm looking for something to tap right now. Got to tap that. What have I got as far as a line to tap? Let me go into a messenger. One of the things that's been... Oh, I accidentally liked Bill's thing here. So maybe I have to already have text out. Let's see, tap, one, tap, 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 tap. Okay. But what about just a cursor line, damn it? That's what it is. You can drop a cursor by tapping, but it drops to the front or the back of the word. It never drops in the middle of the word.
If you're trying to change a letter.
Right. And that's why you got to use the space bar trick is because you can use your finger to drop next to the word, but you can't drop into the word. And so you have to use the space bar to get into the word.
But isn't AI now going to help you in reference to autocorrects?
I would hope everything I typed it would read It would retype it for me in proper grammar and good spelling.
But
Just speak it
Right.
and use the AI function, and it rewrites it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and that's, it'd be interesting to see if that's been added to the mail client now, because that is one of the things that's been showing up on Google and Outlook and is supposed to come to Apple, where you write a message and then it makes suggestions on how to make it better.
I do that with all of my emails now.
Yeah.
I write them out.
Mm-hmm.
I copy and paste into ChatGPT
Yeah. Yeah.
and say, please improve this.
I definitely do the same thing when I'm writing web pages. I'll take my customer's text, and if it feels awkward at all, I'll stick it through an AI and ask them to rewrite it in different styles, just so I can see stuff that's good, stuff that's bad, move it around. I recommend it for anybody that has any writing to do, is throw it through the AI and see what it comes up with. Probably the only thing is you don't want to get in the habit of just dumping it into whatever you're doing. It's more like a copy editor.
Correct.
Where it's making suggestions on how it could be written better, and you have to read it all to make sure that it's still clear and relevant, not full of garbage. The AI thing is so disappointing with what they promised us and where we've ended up. It shows so much potential, but it's not showing great tools to use. And I was thinking about that this morning when I was trying to use Gemini to summarize an article that I had just read. And the problem was that in the article was titled, the FBI recommends that you make these 2 changes to your iPhone. And I couldn't find the 2 changes. And I read the article 2 or 3 times. And I'm like, well, what are the 2 specific changes? And in the time period between me finding the article and me dealing with the article, they had changed the title of it. So it was FBI makes recommendations on like how to be more safe with your email. I can't remember what the title they changed it to. And then even the content changed from 2 very specific points to a really mushy recommendation of using encrypted messenger.
sorry.
So I was sticking this through an AI, asking it to summarize and tell me what those 2 points were. And it kept telling me this article from today. I don't know why it got caught up on thinking it was written today. The article is listed as being written 3 days ago. I said nothing about it being today, but every time Gemini decided to give me a synopsis, it started out with this article from December 17th does not have 2 pieces. I mean, which did make sense after I figured out what was going on.
Because you just taught it on December 17th.
But that doesn't make any sense. I give it a link. I'm not saying that this is a today article, but it's making the assumption.
That's why Gemini sucks.
Yeah, well, they're all sucking in some way. They all have their own ways that suck.
Do you want to talk about Sora?
I haven't used Sora at all. Don't use it, is what you're saying.
It's juvenile and parochial. It's juvenile and parochial.
Yeah.
It's right now a great play toy.
Well, that's kind of how I'm feeling about a lot of these.
No, Gus.
There should be plenty.
I use promo.com for my videos.
So you're using AI video stuff.
I've been using Promo for 7 years. And Promo has now incorporated AI into their platform and have for the last year and a half. So that if I wish to have a calendar of 30 marketing videos, I can give it the details for my business, and it will come up with 30 different short snippet videos
Like marketing videos?
Marketing videos.
Yeah.
And then I can turn around and edit them however I desire, or say, I don't like this one, and redo it. And it will come back and do that for me.
What does it use for assets?
It has a database of over 1 million video clips.
But they're yours or just ones that it works with?
They are within the platform.
Okay. And it's making marketing videos for you, but it's got to be relevant to your subject matter. So do you feed it videos?
Correct.
Yeah.
No. It goes in and searches. So if I talk about trucking,
Yeah.
it will
Go find
it
trucking
will, it will
video.
find trucking videos within its library.
So you could basically give it a narrative and it will build the video in
Yes.
the background.
Correct.
That's wild.
Yeah. And not only that, but insert text
Oh, that's really cool.
into what I want.
Yeah.
So if I want to talk about driver health, it will generate a video for me.
And this is kind of like any talking head situation where you've got a subject that's happening verbally and you want visuals in the background.
Correct.
Just so anytime we're watching the news, that's what's going on, is you got some talking head giving you a point and you got some producer in the background popping up videos that are supposed to be relevant. I remember with my kids, when we'd sit and watch this stuff, I would point out, we'd watch some of this stuff without audio just to see how incongruent some of the videos will be with what's being talked over it, and whether the videos actually jive. You find that they'll pull stuff from 4 years ago to talk about a topic that's happening right now, but you're not even aware of it when you're having it all blasted at you. When you've got the talking going on and you've got the video from 4 years ago, you're not thinking it's from 4 years ago. You're thinking it's relevant to today's topic.
I sent you a text.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
It's exactly, the
About the
videos and images are relative to the content, might not be exactly pertaining to that specific news story.
It seems like that's just such a natural. If they've worked that out for that, you can bet that's what's going to be happening on these news programs at some point. They're gonna have an AI going through its catalog and try. I wonder if they're going to be able to do that in real time. Could you imagine they don't have a producer with any clips sitting by, and you've got a talking head talking about topics, and the computer is just spitting up what it thinks should be the visual for what it's reading?
It's like the generated captions that sometimes work
Yeah.
and sometimes don't.
Right, yeah.
And sometimes a little lag time in them.
And because you have that minimum of 7-second delay in broadcast, that it now allows you that time delay to be able to instantaneously bring it up.
Well, and we've lost so much respect for the quality of news in general. It's just one more downward spiral
Well, for
like it'll fill its
for a
need.
percentage of individuals have lost the.
Well, it'll fill its need though. Like the level of quality that we're expecting now, because we've been beaten into it. The level of quality that we expect, it's on par with what I mean. Like we wouldn't be put off by something like that now. Just auto-generated video that's just regurgitated after somebody.
Well, it depends on what news channel.
Well, I would argue it's on most. It's on most. There's no such thing as
On that
unbiased
same
news,
kind of a
and
line,
all of it's garbage.
the people that don't know how to pronounce words that are our newscasters, or they make up words, which I can't think of any right now, but it's not really a word and they use it when they're reporting the news.
Positivity.
That's one of them.
It's a non-word.
Yeah, it's not a word.
Positivity.
Positivity is
That-
a non-word.
there's a couple that they
But it
use.
has now become,
A
it
word.
has now entered into the modern genre.
Yeah. Well, you know, this isn't an English club. This is a computer club. But it's one of the most fascinating things about English is how quickly it adopts and manipulates language. Just like the ridiculousness of literally
you've
being
got mail.
used incorrectly and now being considered a correct use.
Sure. Look how quickly You've Got Mail.
Yeah.
It even became a movie.
Did you get the text I sent you?
Did I?
And we don't have that anymore. Remember how great that was when you'd log in
No, I
And-
didn't. Oh, yeah, I did. I don't know why I didn't announce it, but it's right here. Sorry, go ahead.
And the mailbox would open and the flag would rise on the mailbox and say, "You've got mail."
Yeah, yeah.
We don't have any of that stuff anymore.
That was the article that I read that told you how to revert all the changes.
Okay. I will add that to our list.
And another aside, Diana called Verizon finally and they fixed her phone.
Yay!
I kept telling her it's a Verizon problem. It's
Yeah.
a Verizon.
We logicked it out on the phone together,
Yeah.
and I gave her every suggestion,
I had given her all those.
and in the end, I had to conclude that you've got to talk to Verizon. It's a Verizon problem.
That's what I kept telling her.
For those who don't know, our mutual friend was not getting phone calls. Somebody would call their phone number and go straight to voicemail.
Nor did she get a voicemail or a notice that she'd gotten a voicemail.
But it would go straight to voicemail.
Yeah.
And I tried calling her from a Mexican phone.
Right, but here in Mexico,
Yeah,
but it
a gringo
but
line.
It worked in the U.S.
No,
We would imagine no.
Okay.
no.
Yeah,
It
I mean,
worked,
it worked until it didn't work.
it worked here just fine for 3 months, and then all of a sudden
It
stopped
didn't work.
working.
Okay.
And I tried calling it from a Mexican number, and it rang 4 times and switched to voicemail, which is kind of how you would expect not picking up a call to happen.
Right.
But then I called her from an American number, and it just went straight to voicemail.
Yes.
And that's when it became fairly clear something was going on with the carrier. But then there is a list of things that you can put yourself into that would reject calls if you put numbers on the no call list on your
Right, or
phone.
block.
Yeah, you're blocking, or if you've got it silencing calls that you don't know. But we went through all that list, and there's ways to identify whether any one of these things happens to be set, and none of those were the case. Not to mention the important thing that every tech person has to remember, I didn't change anything. That's a very valid statement from somebody that's having a problem. I didn't change anything. It just started happening. And Judy had that kind of experience with her email
This morning.
by letting the update install. You did change something.
I did.
You did. But
My own fault.
it's not associated with something that you've done. It's associated with something they've done. And this is very similar. It's something they've done. You didn't do anything.
Not intentionally.
Have you addressed in the past the National Do Not Call list?
I have not. I mean, not for years.
Years.
Not for years. But because of this Smartphones for Dummies seminar second edition that I want to do, it's become a question again. And so I went out and found the new no-call registry.
And you're aware that it is now pertaining also to texting?
It does not say that.
Yes.
No, I've got the information here. In fact, I looked for that, and it does not say that
It
anywhere.
is. It pertains to texting.
I need that to be documented somewhere because I'm looking for that, and their website does not say that.
For businesses.
It does not say it.
Yeah. In that the new FCC regulation that came in March of 2023 was that November of 2023 was that
I'm going to bring this
it
up.
now incorporates
You want this?
texting.
Well, I think that would be awesome. I would like to find the document that says that.
You want me to send it to you?
For what?
Stop unwanted robocalls and text from the FCC.
So where is that? Because if you look up here, I'm
FCC.
on the no-call registry.
No, I'm on the FCC.gov.
Well, this is FTC.
You're not in the FCC. Then.
So this must be an FCC regulation, not a federal trade.
Correct.
So the no-call, the National No-Call Registry is an FTC thing.
But it has to, but it is now, they are adopting, the FCC has adopted it to not only be
it's
phone
on your-
calls, but also text
It's on your
messages.
text.
Which
Like-
means that in the early days, back in the early 2000s, we old farts signed up for the National Do Not Call so that we wouldn't get those phone calls at dinner trying to sell us long distance phone services.
Right?
Okay. Now, unfortunately, with the overreach of government, things have changed dramatically. We don't phone anymore, we text.
Mm-hmm.
And that businesses and people who signed up for the do not call may want to be receiving text messages from businesses. And if you are on the national do not call list, text messages will not go through.
Well,
So
that
it doesn't matter who you've elicited to. If you've placed yourself on the national do not call list 20 years ago and you forgot about it, you then have to go through a manual process to say, yes, I wish to receive a text message from XYZ company that is texting me from this number, except how do you know in the first place that this company's trying to text you?
I think that sounds great.
It says
It's one of the things that I address in
it
my
is such
my
a
Bill
huge-
of Digital Rights is this function of being able to choose when you want to receive.
Understandably.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, our impetus and the reasons why we placed ourselves on the national do not call list 20 years ago, in communication wise, have now changed in our mode of communication and in our mode of marketing, so that very easily and very simply, we can now, with technology, if we get a block, if we get a text message that we don't want, we can simply text stop,
Mm-hmm.
and that company is required by law to stop
Is
texting.
that
As
what
long
that
as it's
means?
legitimate. Yes, as long as it's
See, I'm
legitimate.
kind of leery about texting that stop.
No.
Because you're replying to an unwanted text by texting stop.
Right, but you are now informing, and they must by law,
Really?
or
That's
if you
good to
turn
know.
around and file a complaint against
Again,
them,
this is legitimate.
Yeah.
Legitimate.
legitimate
texts, yeah.
legitimate text messages.
Yeah, yeah.
Now there are exemptions to the regulation also,
Yeah, political is one.
and those are political campaigns and nonprofit organizations.
Yeah.
Because of freedom of speech and then also the nonprofit status.
Well, I think that's great. I think we're moving in the right direction.
But for a business to be able to send
It sounds like what we still need is that
Public
interface,
service.
that easy interface that allows you to say, this is the business I want to hear from. That's what doesn't exist
this
right
is the
now.
business I don't want to hear from.
Right. You have
Well,
to go
you're coming at it a different place. See, I see it as a
Because
white list, not a black
otherwise,
list.
well, yeah,
I say if I'm dealing with Samsung, I want to be able to get their text.
Yeah.
I don't care about anybody else's texts. I don't want anybody soliciting me when I didn't ask for
but
it.
how do you know what Samsung's text number
See, you
is?
hit the nail on the head right
There's
there.
no way for you to know.
There isn't, and that's what we need. We need a system where I can go specify where I'm going to get text messages from. We need a list where I can opt into it instead of always having to opt out of it. Keep thinking, TJ, because you got the answer right there.
But on a
There's-
business basis,
Well, from a business perspective, that's painful.
there's
But
no,
from an individual, that's a great way to do it.
except it's not pro-business, which means it's not beneficial to you because you may be missing out on messages.
Oh, now you just sound like a salesman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's wrong with that?
Well, I don't want to be sold to.
I'm not selling you.
I
I'm
never want to
offering
be
a
sold
benefit
to.
you.
Yeah, I never
not-
want to be sold to. I always only want to go get something that I've chosen to go out for.
Then that's what you have search engines for.
Yeah. So maybe there's a system out there where you can say, oh, I just bought a Whirlpool washer and I want to deal with their customer support. So I go to this page and I put a check mark on Whirlpool and now I can receive their text messages. That's the solution I'm looking for.
When was the last time you wrote a payroll check?
Never.
Your bed and breakfast.
A payroll check? I
You
mean,
have people working for you, correct,
Well,
at the bed and breakfast?
including an
Okay.
accountant that
All
pays
right.
writes
All
the
right.
checks.
Now,
But
how do you market that bed and breakfast?
on Expedia,
Okay. Now,
like Expedia.
Yes,
well, I mean, the whole
understand.
idea is somebody's looking for accommodations, so they go there proactively and find them.
Okay.
I don't mass spam people messages about stay at the bed and breakfast.
No one is saying.
Yeah.
We're talking about responsible marketing.
I think we agree on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Responsible is the key. Okay. Not the Boris and Natasha's from Ukraine.
I've been having this great discussion with my friend Richard because he's an email marketer. He's big into MailChimp, and he's asking for help because one of the customers is their emails are getting lost. They're being flagged as junk mail. And I'm having a lot of trouble helping them because I come from a completely different philosophy. I'm like, they should be. She is a spam.
There is a service. There is a service in MailChimp that
right,
and you pay extra.
But it's an arms race. It's an arms race against you trying to appear as a genuine marketer that's allowed to send out multiple emails without a problem, versus versus a bot that's spamming out. And my opinion is it's all the same. It's all unsolicited garbage coming at you. I wouldn't want to promote it. I wouldn't want to, if I were to build a system, it would be to block it all. I think email marketing's horrible.
Then socialism takes place.
Because I don't want to get spam in my email?
Then we've just because we've then just eliminated capitalism.
Because I don't want to get spam in my email.
I didn't know. Because what you're saying is you're cutting back.
If I turn off my email, I haven't affected capitalism at all.
No, that's fine.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's your decision.
Yeah,
it's all my decision.
I gotta go.
You're out of here.
I'm out of here.
Me too, but I have one thing to ask.
But it's early, Bill.
No, he just doesn't like
it's
the conversation.
It's kind of like.
And this isn't confrontation. This is engaging conversation.
So when my Loma Del Mar sends out the mass emails to the 200 people, everybody that doesn't have Gmail gets those messages right away.
But if you have Gmail,
it comes at like 2 a.m. the next day.
If you have Gmail.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, just a thought.
I wonder what that's all about.
I don't know. She tells me it's just Gmail people that have this problem.
Well, that would be worth investigating because it doesn't seem like anything should be delaying that.
And she said it's Gmail's fault. And I said, I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds weird.
I couldn't find anything. But if you find anything,
okay,
think about it.
Keep it in mind.
Kind of on the same line of opting out, but I've not. I just don't get it. I get it, but it's 5 or 6 hours later.
Yeah, I mean, could Gmail be doing some kind of filtering, kind of
but it comes
AI stuff happening to it? Yeah,
and it's been happening this whole season, so it's nothing real new.
You know, in the email spam conversation that I was just having about my friend Richard dealing with this problem, I mean, one of the things that becomes obvious is that like it's considered spam and then it's not. And it goes through like this vetting process. Like it's not coming through. It's getting flagged. It's getting filtered away.
Kind of
and then over a day or two, it starts coming through. It's like they have something that its default is to block.
But the park's email is it's in my phone.
Well,
so
before it gets to you.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what I could imagine Gmail's doing. He's using Proton Mail, and he was specifically not receiving email from his customer. And that email was more held up than it was blocked. It was like held up. Proton Mail has its own system for vetting email, and so it's like held up over here.
Maybe Gmail does too.
Maybe it is. Maybe it's something like that.
So you're saying the client had Proton Mail, or
the receiver had
the
Proton
receiver
Mail.
had Proton Mail.
Yeah, the receiver had Proton Mail.
So there are additional like Spam Assassin and so forth that are activated within Proton Mail or within Gmail that are filtering through, and then it may come back and retest it, and it clears it.
Well, that's what it feels like going on.
Updates have been made in Spam Assassin within a matter of hours.
Yeah.
But to further, they use Outlook for the mail.
Their outgoing mail is from the Outlook server. That's interesting.
Yeah, and I've accused that of being the problem.
Stirring the pot, are you?
No, I agree.
They don't want to hear it. Really.
I agree 100%.
I
Outlook servers suck.
I think so too. And so I don't know. Anyway, bye.
See ya, Judy. Thanks for being here. Did you see my new setup? We haven't even talked about it. I got donated a computer that's a 10th gen Intel, and I was able to eliminate the other 2 computers to make this happen.
So you're actually operating on a PC.
As well as a wireless display connector from Microsoft. So it's casting to a wireless display instead of running a cable up there.
Weren't you like...
Oh, I'm still a big Mac person. Yeah. But for this, I don't have a Mac. Yeah. All my laptops are PCs.
Okay. I apologize if I chased you.
I don't think you did. Well, guys, we still have a few more minutes in this meeting, and we do have a document of topics if you guys don't have anything to suggest. Jim, how about yourself? You got anything that we need to work on? You're good. You're muted, but you're good. Dad, you got anything?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good. Yeah. Dad, you got anything that you wanted to address in this meeting? I'm going to go on to any topics I might have.
I wish I had, but I don't. Thanks for asking.
Hey, I'll let you know, here's a topic from most recent experiences of mine that you guys might run into. I tried to get a Fire Stick 4K Max remote control to pair with a Fire Stick 4K, and it would not recognize it. I did not know this was a thing. It would totally recognize an alternate remote from another Fire Stick 4K, but the next generation up, the newer remote control, could not be found by the older equipment. Now, there are new generic, well, not generic, they are Amazon Fire Sticks, but that are in the marketplace and marketed as compatible with the different generations of Fire Sticks, which would mean if you bought that outright, you would expect it to work on any of those Fire Sticks. But what I didn't realize was that there's a pairing between the generation Fire Stick and the remote that came with it. That 4K remote, let me say that better, the newer 4K Max remote is not compatible with the older 4K Fire Stick. And I wasted a good hour to determine that trying to get that stick to work.
But the generic remote controls are now compatible across the board.
Yeah, and generic is really the wrong term to use because it is an Amazon product.
Amazon. But what I'm saying is
but
just the standalone purchased remote control newest version is now compatible across
them, yes. And that's the distinction. If you have and I mention it because of people like my father, I know, have a lot of Fire Sticks in his life. Some of them are different generations. And you can't take that newer generation remote control and make it work an older generation Fire Stick. If you've ever found yourself having problems, you may have mixed up these remotes.
Now, will the old generation remote work with the Fire Stick Max?
I would hope so, but I haven't done that testing. I would hope so. The other thing that is really peculiar is that Fire Stick Max remote would pair to my Echo device. My Echo device is a first generation Echo device. It's not the latest version like the Fire Stick 4K Max is. So this is not, I don't believe this is a technical issue. I think this is something that Amazon's arbitrarily doing. I don't know if the
Do you think it could be to sell more
remote controls
or more 4K Max Fire Sticks?
If I lost my 4K remote control and I decided to use one from my Macs, I would be on Amazon buying a new remote control because it wouldn't work. Which is pretty infuriating if you've got a bag of remotes and old sticks. You can't grab one of those and make it work. I'm gonna check what you suggested.
So why would we, for $30, get the latest and greatest?
Hey, you guys want to move over to the next meeting, or
Yes.
do we want to? Yeah. Okay, let's do that because we're about to exceed our time here. No, I need to try that. I need to try taking the older remote and verifying that it would work on the 4K Max. Because then it's less of an issue, because you're more likely to have an older remote around than a newer remote you're trying to make work on old equipment.
But the key is for everyone, just like upgrading phones, to upgrade to the latest and greatest Fire Stick.
Well, the latest and greatest Fire Stick, yeah, but now all the remotes in your life won't work. No, that's what we want to choose. That's right. You can't use that new remote on the old stuff, but maybe you can use the old remotes on the new stuff. And that's what needs to be determined. I just thought it was weird.
You got a brand new Fire Stick? Get a brand new remote.
Well, there's some great remotes out there.
What do we do with old phones?
We chuck them in the trash and hope the battery doesn't catch on.
Or we donate them to the local store.
Let me get this out of here.
For Scotty.
Nice. There we go. All right. Good transition, guys.
Yeah.
All right.
Only lost one.
I think they were already gone, too. We haven't hit any of my topics. I don't know if you guys want to go on to any of this stuff. Let's see what I've got. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, keeping it light because we're almost done with this meeting. I came across a really interesting... Oh, let's see if there's... Cheryl? Yeah, it's Cheryl.
There she is.
Welcome back, Cheryl. I was just saying, I'm not going to get into a deep topic because we only have a few more minutes left in this meeting. But I did want to point out, I stuck it under a recommendation called Hardware Info. And it's a YouTube video from a couple of days ago called The Impossible Laptop Fan. And I think you guys would find this fascinating. This is a solid-state cooler.
What if I told you that this device here, this tiny piece of metal with no moving parts, could produce an air current silently, and it's a strong enough current
Let me
to
get
cool
this on
a
a
laptop?
different page. There we go. So this little bar here creates airflow.
Silently,
moving parts.
and it's a strong enough current to cool a laptop. You'd think it was impossible, right? You'd be like, this it doesn't exist. There's no way. Okay, let me do a quick demonstration. So this technology is inside this little box here. It's right in this section here. I'm going to lay down some smoke, and you will see.
That's pretty cool.
And it's
It has
silent.
no moving parts.
No sound.
It
And
makes
the
no
best
sense.
part about this whole technology,
It's
I saw
ion-driven.
a fully functional laptop with this inside it. It was running off of this cooling technology. And this device was built by a very big company, a very well-known company. They're going to be showcasing at CES in a couple weeks. So this technology comes from a company called Ventiva. They've made a solid-state cooler that is unlike anything I've seen before.
We're not going to watch
Very
this whole thing,
and
but
when I look
this
at
is
the numbers,
fascinating technology.
that
It uses
so they're
ions
attracted
to create a airflow. It's got a bar that it charges that removes an electron, causing a draw to a what's it called? The other side, the other terminal, causing it to move to the other side, looking for that ion, looking for that electron, and it creates a natural wind flow with no moving parts. And what this guy is so excited about is that this could re-examine how laptops are designed. We could imagine these being all around the chips instead of being one source of cooling. You could have them just lining like a bordering the motherboard and creating cooling out of all different areas.
How thin your laptop can be.
Yeah.
And lightweight.
Well, and even the device that he was showing us there is an older demo generation. It's much smaller now. So I'm excited to see what comes out at CES, because this might just...
back in the early days with Apple, in that one biopic, and he says, we need to make the power supplies to be able to fit into this box, and fans. And he's like, no freaking way.
Yeah.
What was the biggest problem in reference to PCs and computers and so forth is you have to have that cooling fan.
No, we've been building PCs for years like muscle cars.
Yeah.
And it's only been when they started RISC processors that are now becoming popular to use on laptops that we have 20-hour battery life. We have laptops that don't get hot, don't need any cooling. But for a long time, it's just been, put better cooling in it, put a bigger radiator on it.
Only build women that way.
Got your father approved bathing suit.
What is going on over there? Cheryl, what you got going on? Cheryl. Oh, she just muted her. So I was going to mute her. I don't know what's going on over there. Anyway, that's in our document. I would check out the whole video. It's fun to watch. Yeah, it's amazing. It really opens your mind to a lot of, I can imagine smartwatches, cell phones. Like you have a cell phone right now. There is no cooling in it. The only cooling it has is time. Time without use is what cools down your cell phone. I could imagine pairing one of these devices right alongside a cell phone motherboard, and you crank up the processing, and it's just cooling. It doesn't have to slow anything down. It just keeps moving at fast pace right there in your hand. Doesn't have to heat up. Heat is horrible for everything. It degrades battery life, battery health. It's going to be really fascinating to watch how this changes things. Probably the only thing, what I saw in this video that makes me a little skeptical, is it still takes more power to do less than an actual cooling fan. You can see all the potentials for using this kind of cooling in all these different scenarios. But replacing a cooling fan is not that scenario. Not the way they've got it now. They've got the numbers, and they show it cannot push as much air as a traditional cooling fan needs at a lower amount of electricity. It actually uses more electricity to push less air.
Thus, your battery life is going to be less.
Well,
there's going to be a trade-off in reference to...
That's right, because you can have smaller components. You can have a smaller build. You could, they were talking about the controller that creates the electricity is good for like 3 or 6 of these devices, so you could have them in an array around the laptop. That's what this guy's talking about is you could imagine rethinking the engineering so that you get all the hot components in a certain area so that they're getting cooled by this differently than the way it does now, where you heat pipe components off to where a fan can blow off the heat. It's a fascinating idea. So I find that very interesting. I recommend it to you guys to check out. And do I have anything? I wanted to go through Walmart's Vizio purchase. It's getting a little stale now because it started at the beginning of the year. If you guys have any interest in that, there's an article there. I basically, what I learned that I didn't realize, Vizio is an American company. One of the only American TV manufacturers out there. They've actually had a very good reputation for building high quality screens at reasonable prices, slightly more expensive than Chinese TVs, but they have concentrated on their own software, and their own software really, to take advantage of it, you're coupling it with a device. So they've become like these casting screens where if you're not pushing it off from your phone or you don't have an HDMI connected to a set-top box, the screen is just good for TV air. That's about it. There's no apps in it. There's no Netflix app to add to your Vizio. That's what they become famous for, is just good quality screens. So now Walmart has purchased them, and this software has been modified to add applications. And what they're saying really is that what Walmart has purchased is a lot of user activity. And so they are going to be exploiting these screens for all your viewing and use behavior. It's one of the reasons they've added the ability to have applications into this system, is because they want to see you watching Netflix on the screen. They want to see you using Amazon Prime on the screen, because that's where Walmart is going to make their money, is selling that data. And so it will become an in-house brand, but it doesn't matter to Walmart whether you choose this TV or not as far as buying it from Walmart. What matters to Walmart is the general collection of data from these TVs that is their side advertising business, because that is the business now, whether it's TVs or phones or computers, whatever the digital device is, it needs to track you so that that information can be sold to marketers. That is
capitalism.
That is the business model now.
Capitalism.
If you're not getting an advertisement, then you are being sold to somebody. Those are your two options right
Jim,
now.
you're laughing. Unmute yourself, Jim. Please, unmute yourself. Come on. Jim.
Oh, we can't hear you.
I just love the concept.
You're having this wonderful, uninterrupted experience, no advertisements, no banner ads. What that means is everything you do is being sold.
Capitalism. No, gracias.
I'm good too. Thank you, Jonathan.
You know, the world we live in. It's getting too hard to keep up.
Hey, Jonathan's with us, and I wanted to mention, since we haven't done a recommendations piece in this meeting, he hated the Substance movie.
I hated it. Don't watch it.
The new Demi Moore movie. Share some of your visceral reactions to this movie.
Well, the thing is that the movie is really well shot. It has a great audio design. Demi Moore knows how to act, but the movie doesn't know how to end. So it just goes crazy at the last 30 minutes, and it loses every sense of rules that they made on the movie. Like, I understand that it's an artistic movie, but each movie sets the rules, of their world, and this movie just doesn't care about the rules. So to me, it's a no-go.
He was anxious to tell me he wanted his 2 hours of his life back.
I waited a week to see Scott because I saw it the day he told me that he seen it. So it's a week that I had frustration, like verbal vomit, just to tell him that I hated this movie. Like, I was about to make a YouTube channel just to talk about it.
Just to criticize the movie.
I have stage fright. But I didn't care.
We can see that.
Yeah. Oh, it's much my hate for the movie that I don't mind people watching it. That's how much I hated it.
Yeah, stage fright.
I hated it because it could have been something great, but it just lost me.
That's probably a very fair point, because as you watch this movie, the Demi Moore movie, you can see what the message is that they're trying to get past, but they wrap it up in all this other garbage.
Yeah, and then in the last 5 minutes, it's just to brag about, like, I want to know how much budget they had for just blood.
Yeah, a blood budget?
A blood budget, yeah, it was too much. Even if I like horror movies.
It turned into a body horror movie at the end. Hey, have you seen this movie, The Substance? So obviously, Jonathan does not recommend it.
And he's not shy in front of the camera either.
No, I don't think so. I did not have as visceral reaction as Jonathan did to it, but I was very disappointed with it at the end. I felt like it used it as a crutch, this body horror stuff. Like it was like it couldn't find itself. It started out with a message about body image, and it ended with, well, we forgot what the message is. Let's just show you a lot of gruesome special effects. So it's not on a top you need to watch movie, but he was waiting for me all week to share this information, so I want to make sure we covered it.
We got it.
We're at the end of this meeting. Does anyone out there want to make any recommendations, as we typically do towards the end of a meeting?
I put a couple.
Linda, wait.
Oh, you're muted again there, Jim.
I put a couple in the thing.
How are you doing, Cheryl? You don't sound good.
No, I don't feel good.
I'm sorry
I've got
to
the
hear that.
sabotage grudge.
Oh no. Well, I did see that you had written some stuff in here. The Diplomat.
Yeah.
And
The
Outer
Diplomat
Banks.
is.
Go ahead.
Both of them have new seasons on their series, and I enjoyed both of them.
I have not watched The Outer Banks, but The Diplomat, Yuya and I got into it this week, and we binged through. We've got like 3 more episodes left on the second season. It's excellent. It could be a movie. I mean, just the way it pieces together, it's like watching a 6-hour movie. It's really well done and funny too. Funny in ways that, like it's intentionally meant to be funny, but it's funny, ironic funny. Watching as they politic and they discuss and the kinds of things that one of the things you really get a feel for is everything that's said on the surface has nothing to do with what's going to happen. There's like this whole facade of discussion in politics that is happening while things are happening in the background. And it really does a good job of making that as clear as mud.
It's intelligent comedy.
Yeah, I think so too.
Outer Banks
is not
PG.
intelligent comedy. It's an unintentional comedy, from what I've heard. Sorry, Cheryl, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
The Outer Banks is a teen movie or series, and they're treasure hunters, and they live on the Outer Banks, and they find treasures. And it's a fun series.
Well, do we have any others? Jim, you're talking, but we can't hear you.
How's this? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. A series called The Resident. It's an old series. It's been, I think we're in season 6 now. Linda and I just started it. We're still in season 1, but it's excellent. Doctor movie and our Doctor TV series. Brilliant young residents, and what they're going through with their mentors. It's fun watch though. It's quite good.
Ooh. All right.
It's Netflix.
On Netflix. TJ, you got any recommendations? Books, websites, anything you think other people would appreciate?
The Librarians.
I love The Librarians. That's great. Are you guys familiar with the series The Librarians?
No.
So it's geared more towards young adult, but it's still fun stuff.
Oh, it's fun stuff.
Yeah, it's real fun stuff. If you've ever been, it's kind of like light X-Files with magic.
Yeah. Everything is magic.
Yeah, everything is magic. It's Noah Wiley.
Who was the guy on Night Court?
John
Arquette.
No, is it Arquette? No, is that right? Larquette. John Larroquette. The prosecuting attorney on Night Court, if you guys remember that old TV show.
He's the mentor. He's
great in it. And I want to say the blonde is really well known too. I can't remember her name at the moment. Been in all kinds of stuff.
Who cares about her name?
But it's great because
Cheryl, I didn't get a smile out of that one. I said, "Who cares?" He's like, "Yeah, she's really well known." And my response was, "Who cares about her name?"
Yeah. I was just looking for where is it? Is it Stremio?
Well, yeah, you'd probably watch it there. I don't know who's got. It seems like it's a TNT. Originally,
Amazon has it.
Amazon has it.
Amazon has it. Netflix used to have it.
The idea is that there are artifacts in history and magic artifacts, and these guys are the people that have to deal with that. They have to protect it.
The magic, because evildoers will take that magic for the wrong purposes.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
So they are the guardians of magic.
And it's a role that has been passed down for centuries.
Yes.
And so they're the latest incarnation of people.
And the librarians have incredible, not supernatural powers, but incredible, mind-boggling.
Well, they're almost misfits of their own
groups. Yes.
Yeah, they have these unusual abilities that don't make sense outside of this context, and so it's like they've been misfits in society.
Speed and quantum computing,
but it's a lot of fun, and it's based on two, maybe three different movies that were made originally with Noah Wyle as the librarian. And the TV series, The Librarians, came up because his role was replaced with 4 people. It was supposed to be replaced with one librarian, which is traditional, and this is where the tradition broke. They replaced it with 4 individuals. And then he's an executive producer on the shows and the movies, and he joins the cast, I think, in the 2nd season.
And the beauty of it is there's not a whole lot of sex, and there's not a whole lot of blood and gore and guts.
Yeah, that absolutely is one of the reasons I enjoy the show, is because it doesn't fall back on any of that gratuitous stuff. I mean, they're genuinely entertaining stories. It reminds me of the way we used to really appreciate Star Trek. It was like
or Abbott and Costello.
Yeah, well, you have to work really hard to find an interesting concept when you're not shooting people, you're not fighting with people, you're not, right? Or Abbott and Costello. I don't understand that. Well, if we're talking about things that appeal to a younger audience generation, have you guys seen the new Star Wars Skeleton Crew? It is awesome. If you are a fan of the Goonies movie, this is a great TV show, and I think they marketed it correctly. I was very disappointed with The Acolyte. I don't even think I watched the last episode of it. Are you a Star Wars fan at all? Not at all? The Acolyte was, and the reason I bring it up at the same time is both of these are new Star Wars TV series for this last year, for this last part of 2024. And The Acolyte was marketed to us as a story of building an evil Sith force wielder. And it had, in the marketing, a lot of potential for a gritty kind of adult story. And it wasn't. It was a silly story, and almost boring at times, and should have been marketed to people that were like 12 to 16 years old.
Attention span.
It's just, there's just nothing there. It's not deep. This, however, they marketed correctly. They have marketed to like 12 to 18-year-olds, and it's got this feel, like you feel like you're in the Goonies movie. If you like the Goonies, this is a TV show you will appreciate. It's very Star Wars, and one of the fun things in it is there's this contrast between suburban life in the Star Wars world and then that kind of rebel empire conflict going on outside of this suburban way. And it's a story about a half a dozen young kids that end up on an accidental adventure, but it's really well done.
What was the title again?
The Skeleton Crew.
Right.
And what's his name? Judd Law is playing the adult character in the movie. I mean, they deal with a lot of adults, but he's the one that, yeah.
He's the adult in the room.
He's the adult character, and then the rest are made up of these kids that can't be more than 10, 12 years old. And they do a great job. And it's another one of those that you're not relying on sex or heavy violence or any of that. It's just got really good stories going on.
Requires you to think.
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far.
The Librarians makes you think.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the Librarians, and I turned my daughter onto them, and we became super fans of the Librarians. So those are easy recommendations. Guys, we have reached the end of this meeting. If you don't have anything to say, you'll have to hold your peace till next week. And Jim, you're muted again if there's any comments you're trying to make there.
Nope, I was just saying, all right.
Is there a meeting next week?
Is there a reason there wouldn't be?
Christmas Eve.
Is it
Christmas Eve?
Oh, that is a good question. I hadn't thought about it.
Christmas Eve and then New Year's Eve.
I do believe I shouldn't have a problem with a meeting next week, but maybe we should leave it up in the air until the last minute, because I do not plan my Christmas week. I get it planned for me.
Keep us informed.
So I'll send you guys out a message. I mean, why don't we leave it like this? Let's plan on having a meeting, and I'll let you know if it can't happen.
Okay.
All right? If you guys are interested in Christmas Eve meeting.
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
I'm only a 2-minute drive.
There's only the 5 of us here, so we're making the decisions for everyone. Well, great. Until possibly next Tuesday, you guys tack on and have a good week.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thank you, Jim.
Adios. And it's just me and TJ sitting here. I'm going to stop this